Hi everyone, it's Samantha Lux. Welcome back to my channel. Squid Game Season 2 has finally been released, and guys, girls, non-binary people, there's a trans character and they're so good. There was a lot of chit chat, a lot of controversy surrounding this role. I'm so excited to finally be talking about it. For today's video, we're gonna be reacting to some of my favorite scenes from this new season. Sorry, there's a hair in my mouth. And talking about some of my favorite moments of representation and of, you know, just cuteness. I don't know. My name is Samantha Lux. I post new videos twice a week here on my channel where I give you guys my opinion as a trans woman who studied media. So yeah, if you guys are not yet subscribed and you would like to be, go ahead and do that right now. I'll wait for you. Go ahead. I'll wait for you. I'll wait for you. Are you done? Thank you very much. Make sure to follow me over on Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, all those different places to keep us up to date with me as possible. I play video games on my Twitch channel every single week, so please come hang out with me on Twitch. It's so much fun. And finally, I do have a Patreon, so if you guys like the work that I do here on my channel and you would like to support that work, Patreon is the best way to do that. So yeah, thank you so much to all of my current patrons. I love you so much. But yeah, with no further ado, let's get right into this episode. I'm so excited. Okay, so I was really trying to figure out how I wanted to break up the different, moments of representation to show you guys. And I think that I figured out a good little way, okay? I want to first show you my first impressions and like how they built the characters. Then I want to show you some of my favorite like allyship moments and like little storyline moments. And then finally, we're going to watch the emotional scene where she talks about why she's entered the games. I'm going to save that part for last because it's the best, duh. So yeah, let's get right into the first scene.
Excuse me. If we're just playing games here, then why do you basically kidnap us? How can we trust you now?
My apologies.
She kind of got a point, I gotta say. But anyways, obviously this is the very first scene that we see of her, the very first time that we see her in this season, and it's a man. I'm just kidding. She looks cute. She looks very cute. I did say in the beginning of this video that there was some controversy surrounding this representation, and the reason for that is that the actor that is playing Hyunju, which is her name that we learn in a second, is a male actor. Their name is Park Sang-hoon. When we talk about having trans characters in TV shows, like the number one thing that we say is that we want to hire trans actors and actresses. The most simple reason is that trans women, trans people often have a hard time finding work, finding jobs due to the fact that they're trans. So giving them that opportunity to have work is obviously really important. Additionally, it perpetuates this perception of transness being a costume or something that you can take off at the end of the day, at the end of your role, if you will. Transness is not removable. It is not a costume that we put on to play a show or a part. So that is also a problem. And finally, and I'm sure there are other reasons as well, but being trans is something that if you're not trans, is incredibly hard to imagine. It's incredibly hard to understand. And so I think that when we are telling those stories and sharing our identities and our experiences in media like this, it really should come from a trans person. The director or the casting agent or whoever actually did respond to this. They actually made a statement about this and they gave their reasoning for it. They said that due to the social stigmas and the social perceptions of transness and of even just the LGBT community in general, they were not able to find an authentic trans Korean actress. And now, do I believe it? Yeah, probably. I do believe that it likely would have been really hard to find a native or at least somebody that lived in Korea who was out and trans and able to perform in the way that was necessary for this show. That likely would have been really, really difficult. Now, could they have gone to a different country and found a Korean trans woman and brought them in for the show? Probably, possibly, I'm not sure, but big but here. I think that they made the right choice for this. I really do. The purpose of having good representation in TV shows, in my opinion, that purpose is not at all worth it if it endangers a real life trans person. So if there was a Korean trans actress who was in this show and she went back to her everyday life and was targeted and harassed and maybe lost future job opportunities, to me, it's not worth it. If somebody wants to volunteer to like fill that role, that's amazing and on them. But I would never want to endanger the community that this media is supposed to be helping. And am I really going to sit here and complain and be upset about the fact that this actor wasn't really trans when the character is so amazing? They did not have to include a trans person at all. They didn't have to include this storyline at all, let alone make it such an amazing form of representation, such an amazing example of trans representation. Throughout her entire appearance on the show, Hyunju is a really, really amazing character. She shows up for the other characters when she doesn't have to. She motivates other characters when they're feeling down and when they're feeling scared about themselves. Also, I should say, spoilers. There's going to be spoilers in this video, obviously. There's this scene in the last episode where she's showing everybody how to use a gun, and she like goes up and she's like this badass bitch with this gun and like explains to this group of men how to use this assault rifle. And they're like, oh, how did you do that? She's like, yeah, I was in the special forces. It's just this really, really awesome, badass person. But not only is she badass, she's also incredibly deep and emotional and all that kind of stuff, which you see in this one scene where she talks about why she's in the game. We're gonna watch that in a little while, so bear with me. But before we get to that, there are a few other examples of amazing storytelling surrounding a trans person and surrounding learning about a trans identity that I wanna share with you guys, especially with player 149, the character named Gang Gyum-ja. She's my favorite character. I think she like reminds me of like Mumsy Lux in like 15 years or like however long, but she's my favorite character. So I need to show you guys a little bit of their interaction because it doesn't start out great, but it really ends great, okay?
Please look into the camera.
Sheik, is that a man or a woman?
Smile.
People can do that now. Someone's originally a man, but they transition into a woman after a while.
Please look into the camera.
I don't get why a man would want that, though.
Smile.
You don't one or the other, that's just the way things
Can't
are.
say that, Mom. Here. Shh, quiet.
Honestly.
So not a great scene, not my favorite. I mean, it is kind of my favorite. No, it's not my favorite, but it's a good scene. It just really captures the reality of how a lot of people feel about trans people, unfortunately. But a lot of people, especially in this older generation, and maybe even especially more in South Korea, a lot of people don't understand what being trans is. They have no idea. You know, for us who, you know, maybe you watch my content, maybe you're in the community yourself, it feels so familiar to us. But for a lot of people, they have no idea. It's not coming from a place of judgment necessarily. At least that's what we see later in the show, but it's coming from a place of just not understanding. I love her character and I love their dynamic because they do end up getting teamed up together in the following game. And there's this moment where one of their other teammates like yells at her like, hurry up, you old hag. And Hyunju is like, shut the hell up, and like defends her in that way, kind of stands up for her in that way. But through her standing up for her and through their bonding of the game and, you know, even throughout the game, Hyunju is like, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this together, we can get through this, we're gonna be okay. Through that, they're really able to bond. And then like after that scene, we see Gyum-ja, or Mrs. Yang, say to, you know, her other teammates, including Hyunju, I can't wait to have you all over for dinner when we get out of here. Where are you from? You can take a bus over to my house. I'll make this and I'll prepare this for us and it will be a great time. And it's just so cute. You know what I mean? It's just like really highlighting that sometimes all it takes to get to somebody is like a little near-death experience. Nothing like it to bring you together. Okay, so the next scene is after they've competed as a team together, and Gyum-ja is kind of trying to reach out to her and learn more about her.
Hyunju, I have a question too, if it's all right.
Sure.
You were kicking the Jaggy. How come you had to make us all turn around?
I kind of...
You shy or something? Is that what it is, huh?
It's not that, it's just... I just don't feel quite done yet.
What? What isn't done?
Ma, stop. Leave her alone. You always ask such personal questions.
Right. There are still a few surgeries I'm waiting to get done.
Oh,
When someone stares, I just feel...
what type of surgery?
I just love it. It's just this really sweet, innocent moment of, you know, I don't get it. I don't know you at all, girl. But like, why, what was that about? You know what I mean? Like, maybe you're not that bad after all. Let me ask you a little question. Let me see what's up with you. Even though she didn't understand and even, you know, had some maybe harsh judgments about who she was before, she's willing to learn, willing to talk to her, and willing to be open-minded about it. And that's just so cute. Throughout the games, they continue to work together and they become really, really close. I want to watch my favorite little moment. This is my favorite moment of the whole entire show. Really think about the dichotomy of the beginning scenes where she's like, you're either a man or a woman, and that's just how it is. I don't know why anybody would do that. Really compare it with this next scene, okay?
It's just to pee when I need to. What did I do in my past life to deserve this? Thank you, sir.
Could I come too?
It's okay, yes. She's a woman, yeah. Her name is Hyunju. Hyunju. It's okay. Let's go. Come on, here, hurry up.
It's okay. It's okay. She's a woman. Her name is Hanju. Hanju, come on. She went from being this person who her son had to tell to like, zip it, mom. You can't say that shit, to being this person that's like comforting other people who maybe have like a little questioning of like, is this person okay? Like, what's going on with them? She went from not understanding to I like girl. And it's just so beautiful. It's just so, so sweet. I just love their relationship so much because there's that scene. And then there's this scene at the end where she is about to shoot the guards and to, you know, go out with a fight. She grabs onto her and she's like, no, don't do it. This isn't a good way to die. And she just looks at her with so much compassion and so much care for her, reaching out and just like about to cry, like, because she is afraid of losing her. And again, the scene that we'll watch at the end of this video, she talks about how she's kind of alone and doesn't really have anybody. Like even her parents have kind of abandoned her. So this moment with this other mother figure in the show is just so beautiful. And the show has so many moments like that, so many moments of showing good allyship and like showing good, like just being a good person to a trans person. In the beginning, we see Hyunju going around and like trying to find a team. And she goes up to this group of men and is like, if you need one more, like I can join your team. And they're all like, we're good, thanks. Giving her that rejection because she's trans. We see Hyunju kind of walking around and anticipating rejection in some ways. But then there's this moment with this character, Young Mi, who shows that, you know, even if there are people out there that don't accept you, there's always going to be one person who will accept you. And there's this other character who is a guy, which he's actually one of my favorite forms of representation in the show as well, because his appearances with Hyunju are very limited. There's only like 3 very, very short moments that they have together, but they're very impactful because, you know, we see Hyunju anticipating this rejection in the beginning scene, and we see her again anticipating rejection during the mingle game. Once it goes down to groups of 2, and so everybody has to find that one person to pair up with, you can see her kind of standing in the middle, anticipating that nobody's going to want to pair up with her, anticipating that rejection that she's likely felt because of her transness. She's like looking around and like the timer's running out and people are all pairing up. This man comes and like swoops her up, literally like swoops her off her feet, brings her into a room, locks the door, and they survive at the last moment. Shout out to you, what's his number, 246? Shout out to you, 246, for saving her. I wouldn't be making this video right now because I'd be too emotional. He also, after Hyunju gives the gun demonstration, is like, oh, how'd you like learn so much about that? Like, you really know your stuff. She's like, oh, I was a sergeant in the special forces. And he's like, oh, like, I see. And he's just like, I'm like, obviously it's not much. It's not crazy in terms of romance. Like, it is Squid Games, but this depiction of a man treating her like a person instead of like an other, and communicating in this way that doesn't show discomfort or hesitation. He's not afraid to literally grab her and pull her into a room when a lot of the other guys would like be uncomfortable literally just being next to her. It's all very unusual for trans representation. Typically, like I said, we see men who are repulsed by trans women. We see men who are making fun of trans women. Over time, due to these narratives being perpetuated by media over and over and over and over again, people, and specifically boys who are becoming men, learn from this media that these behaviors of being repulsed by trans women are what's to be expected of them. Therefore, they act them out in real life with real life trans women. Hopefully this representation can inspire other shows to have positive representation like this, because as we've seen, media is a very, very powerful teacher that has the ability to do a lot of good for trans people, and even just like a non-trans person who may find themselves attracted to a trans person. Media like this is going to really combat those, you know, negative perceptions that people have. The show is full of cute moments like this. I might watch it again just to like see how many I can pick up on, because a lot of them are very subtle, very hidden. But I mean, one of them that wasn't hidden, not subtle at all, was this next scene, the final scene that we're gonna be watching today, where Hyunju talks about why she has entered the games and what life has been like for her since she's transitioned. So Mrs. Jing is about to ask her why she did it, and what she's referring to is why she voted to stay in the games instead of leave the games.
But then, as soon as I said I was living as a woman now, and started my transition, everything was different. Mom was always crying. My dad cut off all contact. I was let go from my job. My friends stopped calling. And I still needed treatment and surgeries. But now I was out of work. My debt started to grow. I finally felt like myself, but life got a whole lot harder.
Oh, sweetheart.
There's more. I have to pause for a second or I'll cry. It's too real, you know? I mean, it's not too real. I'm really glad that they put this all in there because this is the reality for a lot of trans people. People always bring up like, well, people are still depressed and they're still suicidal after they transition. And they never account for all of these things, you know? It reminds me of that Miley Cyrus song. It's called Island, if you've heard it. Famous line goes, "Am I stranded on an island or have I landed in paradise?" It's about how she's rich and famous now and she's in some ways landed on this tropical paradise island where she could have everything that she's ever imagined and everything she's ever wished for. Is it that, or am I actually just stranded here by myself? Because in some ways transition is a dream come true, but at the same time with all of these other things, it's just really hard, you know? I always try to make it seem like as positive and beautiful as it really is, but in a lot of ways, it's really, really difficult. But yeah, let's finish this little scene.
Once you get what you need and get out of here, do you know what you want to do?
I'll play one more, and then if I get my share, I'll go there and finish my transition. Buy a nice small house, and start my whole life over.
Oh, Thailand, you know, I've actually been. And there are lots of other folks like Hyunju there. I mean, tons.
I've heard. Apparently it attracts some really beautiful people.
Honey, you're beautiful.
Oh, I got a little emotional when she said that. She just wants to finish her transition and buy a small little house and just start over. Because I think that again, is just the goal of so many trans people. And so that's why I get so riled up when I hear all of this misinformation and propaganda against trans people and saying that we're evil people and that we're out to get your kids and stuff, because this is the trans people that I meet. Just want to feel like themselves and feel beautiful and live in peace. I don't know. It's crazy that they got so much about the trans identity and so much about the impact of being a good ally into this Squid Games freaking season. Like, huh? It's wild. If you guys have not seen this show, I really, really recommend that you do so. Get a box of tissues because it is a very emotional show, especially if you haven't seen the first season. But yeah, you guys, that is pretty much it for this video. Those are all the scenes that I wanted to react to today. Squid Games, I'm very, very impressed. Park Sung-hoon, you know, I forgive you for not being a transie yourself. I post new videos twice a week here on my channel, so if you guys are not yet subscribed and you would like to be, please make sure to do that right now. Go ahead. And yeah, other than that, I think I'm gonna go. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.